Future use. I had the grandson home today. Put him to work.
Are we up?
It says here.
Perfect. Okay. It is Tuesday, October 19th, 2021 at 1:34 p.m. We're in the council chambers. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Is there any additions to the agenda? Councillor Sisson?
Nope.
Councillor Rosner?
Yeah, I'd just like to talk briefly about Fort Shoot Bridge.
Forest Bridge?
Oh, I have a response for you.
Okay.
So
Do you want to put it on or do you not want to bother, even if you have a response?
I've had so many complaints from Canada Post and bus drivers that I reached out to the county, and apparently it's supposed to be done on Friday.
It's been done for weeks and people have been using it.
So
I understand
we'll
that.
hold the conversation.
Yeah.
So I'll add that as item number 3, please. So 4th Street Bridge. And I'll refer to Jack, you for that, and then to Mayor Murphy as well. Is that the only addition you have,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Queen of Halloween.
Perfect. So that's number 4. Any other additions? Okay, Merv, do you have any
Nope.
additions?
Nope.
Okay, and I do not have any, so could I please have a confirmation of the, thank you there, Tim. All those in favor? Perfect, thank you very much. Is there any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, thank you very much. Could I have an approval of the minutes of the committee meeting on October 5th, 2021? Mayor Murphy, thank you very much. All those in favor? Perfect, thank you very much. We do not have any delegations today.
Brent's like an auctioneer today.
I'm efficient. We're 4 minutes behind. Good thing there's no mayor's report today, or we really have to slash that. So we don't have any delegations today. I saw that Kevin is here. So could we bring Kevin in the room? I did see him walk in. I want to just go grab him, Sandra, wherever he is. I didn't want to move the correspondence because there's some of the ones we'll talk about might have a bit more of a
Yeah.
conversation, so
Yeah, they're,
potentially.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin. Hello.
Kevin,
Hey,
welcome.
Kevin.
Okay.
and he brought Emma.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
So Emma, it was just a request that when we hire new people, we've had quite a bit of turnover in the organization. And I just thought if people didn't know you, that you might like to come with Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah, so Brent Patrick, Tim Sisson, Councilor Jack Rosner, I'm sure you're well aware, Mayor Murphy, and then Murph Buckwald as well. So
The old guy.
yeah, so no, we appreciate having you here, and then just because we've had a lot of staff, as say Jenna said, so it's nice to put a face to the name, right? So makes a big difference. So
Nice to meet you.
And Emma's been with us for quite a while, but part-time.
Yeah, part-time.
Yeah.
When I was on school, I'd come back.
Great addition to the rec team.
The head grass cutter.
That's right.
Yeah, that's exactly.
you guys, now your job title is grass and more. Yeah, yeah.
The grass is when I get away.
When you need a break.
Yeah.
Have a seat, Emma. Enjoy. I'm actually glad you're here for this because I've got something I want to ask Kevin about.
No, perfect. So Kevin, we will turn the floor over to you and welcome here today. Everything's going good?
Everything's going good, yeah. It's
Perfect.
perfect fall day out there right now, I'll tell you.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'll start with the arena. Things are going well. The paramedics had a drive-through on October the 1st, went well. They had about 125 vaccinations. I'm not sure how many were given out that day, but that's what they had on hand. Minor hockey is going well. Regulations are changing. Not, but it's changing. It's hourly some days, yeah, yeah. Anyways, as of November the 30th, the Renfrew County Health Unit is a mandatory for people over 12 years old to be vaccinated. So anyways, that was just here a week ago, the mandate was passed down. So anyways, it's being implemented and we're moving forward on it.
What sort of impact you figure that's gonna have to people that participate?
I think there is going to be some impact. To what degree, it's hard to say, but there will be an impact.
There must be some sort of an impact because I see the OPP were called to deal with.
Yeah,
Parents not complying?
right at the very beginning, when it was first mandated to show vaccinations coming through the door, we had a few situations, so we did all we could do. So it was mostly, they were called basically just to educate and say, okay, this is being passed down to the province, and we're just information. And that was basically what it was, why it was given.
Well, and I think that that's a very important message, that this is not a protocol that we put in place. And, you know, when you say that our CDHU is, I mean, it changes quite a bit. I still think this is a moving target.
I'd also, Kevin, if you could somehow come up with some sort of number to give us a feeling what sort of impact this is gonna have and how many people. I know I've received quite a few calls of people that aren't happy, that are just pulling their kids and stuff out. Some are going to the effect is, why should we pay taxes for an arena we can't use? So I'd just like to know if you can put a number to this, like, because you know how many people are there now? And once this gets implemented, what sort of impact it has to the number of people that are coming in?
The best way I could do that is ask minor hockey what their registration was previously, and we see where we are today.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, but that'll give us
an idea.
an idea, and that's what I'm just looking for. Like, and instead of saying it's gonna be impacted, I'd like to have a more number, right? So we can-
One, and I guess just is I guess also because this is November 30th for the vaccinations for, say, coaches, trainers, volunteers and stuff like that. So I guess one of the questions to go along with that would be if any teams are impacted, like just maybe there won't be a coach for it or not. It's just some, I'm just kind of, I guess it's just because it's just something I guess I want to know, just because obviously we've had kids out of sports, and unfortunate thing, it's something that we have limited control over, just because it's passed down to us. We have to administer because we provide the service. I guess really it just, but we don't want to see kids impacted. So I guess how I look at it is like, I just want to make sure that our outdoor rink is going to be amazing, because I don't want to see any kid that can't play hockey not have some form of exercise or anything, just because it's the parent's choice, right? Tim?
I don't like the segregation that's going on right now with the kids, the families, to choose between this vaccination or enjoying, you know, something that they've done for ever. There's been cases coming up where there's been young people taking this vaccine and they've had very bad side effects, right? And I don't want to be part of any council that has to push this stuff onto our kids, because back in January, AstraZeneca was supposed to be a approved vaccine for everyone to take, and it was all safe, and all our big leaders were out there screaming and shouting that this is a good thing to do and a good thing to take. And where do you get AstraZeneca today? And now over in other countries, Moderna is being pulled in all the people that are under the age of 30 because of what happens with the heart. And I'm not going to be part of the crowd that forces this into our kids. I still believe we should be in a pro-freedom society, and I don't like segregating our kids or using them as an experiment, because listen, this stuff hasn't been out long enough to know what it's going to do, what the long-term side effects are, and I'm not going to be anybody's puppet to shove it in anybody's body. That's not right. I won't stand for it.
Mayor Murphy, you have a comment?
Thanks. I actually have several, but I will limit my comments. I think one of the things I'm finding very frustrating is that the one thing I had on the docket for you today, Kevin, is that I've been asked for more youth programming, especially over the winter. And I've been back and forth with quite a few parents actually about what are we using the Eagle's Nest for? And I see in your report that, you know, Zumba is being done every Thursday, which is lovely. But what can we do over the winter in the Eagle's Nest after school, maybe in the evenings, to get these kids out and active? You know, is there a gymnastics instructor? Is there a ballet? You know, I think anything that we can do to get these kids off the couch and back into a healthy way of living, and I will include myself in that. I think that this policy goes exactly against that, where I want to see, and I assume all my colleagues agree, we want to see more stuff going on at the arena. We want to see more kids out and active and doing different hobbies. And this really limits us for some of these kids. And I'll use Tim's word, it really does segregate them. So, you know, one little kid wants to, you know, do, I don't know what kids play these days. Maybe Emma knows better than me, but you could be talking about kids of the same age in school together, and one can go to the arena and one cannot. And I think that's where all I want to see is more. Let's use the Eagle's Nest. It's an untapped commodity, and it's frustrating, I think.
Councillor Susan?
The big thing, and let's not forget, guys, if the vaccination was to prevent anybody from spreading it or contract it, it might be in a little bit different category, but even those who are vaccinated can still catch the virus and still spread the virus. So until someone can show me the positives of public safety by having it, rather than just trying to prevent our hospitals from being overwhelmed, you're going to have to do a little better job of showing me that, because a lot of people have had COVID, have had both vaccinations, and they're getting very sick from it. So, and I know a lot of people have got very sick from the vaccination. So I'm not going to shove this in our kids now. I'm sorry, I'm not going to take any part of it. If people want to have the freedom to choose to do it to themselves, that's their own right, but I'm not going to take any part in pushing it into it.
And Kevin, this is not on you.
No,
I think we're just, I think we're, you know, it's been almost 2 years. We're all frustrated. And at a time when we really do need our physical and mental health to get better, especially for the kids. And we're in this situation. So I think we'd all be up for any and all ideas that you and your staff might have for some better programming over the winter months.
Or better outreach, in my opinion, because the thing is if you look anywhere right now, everyone's technically hiring. So the thing with volunteering isn't as much desired. It's a limited supply right now. Like, not a lot of people volunteering. There's so many restrictions as you've been dealing with for the last 2 years on top of what you do on day to day. But no, I agree. Like, any form of an additional program that we can help support as a council is something that I definitely look at. But I know definitely going into the fall, I'd love to see, no matter what, same as last year's or outdoor rink, in tip-top performance. And if we have other avenues that we can explore as well, then I'd be happy to entertain as well. Is there any other comments on that section of Kevin's report currently? Merv?
The HEO thing, does that apply to everyone? Like, I read the procedure, I think in the second chapter of the procedure there, it kind of says that, you know, the minor hockey, it doesn't apply to. I thought it just maybe went down to junior B, not to the lower.
It's Eastern Ontario Minor Hockey Association. It applies to
Everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the best way of putting that.
So is that applicable? I guess there's Northern or Western Ontario, they all have the same policy? Or is it just Eastern that has? that
It'd be
policy?
just Eastern, Jack.
So the Northern, they don't have this strict enforcement?
I'm not.
You're not 100%
I'm not, I
sure.
don't really know, to be honest yeah.
And then if kids, I guess.
It'd be interesting if you could figure that, find that out, Kevin. If it's-
I guess a question I would have is parents, right, currently as it stands or with the future, so when November 30th comes. So then when someone rents the ice surface and they have 12-year-old kids, because it's not associated with, say, the Eagleville, or not Eagleville, Eastern Hockey Association. So would then those kids then be required or not?
Yes, if they're over the age of 12, yes, they'll be required to show a vaccination.
Even in like a private rental at the arena?
They're coming into our facility.
Oh, okay. Okay, and then, okay, so we'll just move on, I guess, to the next, so continue through your report.
Anyways, the junior B hockey, we've been having great attendance. Thanks, Jen, for coming out for the grand opening
It
there.
was so much fun.
We had 106 people there. We've had 3 games since, and we've been anywhere from 80 to 90 in that range. And going back to the whole masking, everything, there's lots of people come through that door and they have everything in their hands to walk through that door, and it's gone seamless. So it's a learning curve for everybody, but it's working. It's working. So we may be getting some pushback, but there's lots of good too. So anyways, public skating starting November the 7th. We have about 6 dates left total for the month of right through to January 1st. So we went out, Tim and I went out canvassing yesterday, and we've had great response. So it's filled right up. And so that's great to see, because I know we've had a few people ask, and I said, well, just kind of waiting to see what everything kind of settles down and see we make the right move forward. So that's the direction we're starting in.
I'll take a date, Kev.
Okay, any particular one, Jen? Okay.
No, just choose one.
In Centennial Park, Dana was out there Friday night to the infant loss awareness. Anyways, she was there. We had a spokesperson there. It was attended, not a real big crowd, but it was an attendance. The walk for Paul of Ashford on Sunday. Mother Nature, I'm not sure how it went, but anyways, it was everything was open. They had a barbecue. They planned to have a barbecue and some music. So this week and next week the bathrooms will be winterized, shut down, because Mother Nature's cooling down, so we want to be ahead of the game. Up the Legion Field, the farmers market, October the 8th was our last date. We winterized the splash pad already. The tennis nets have been are still up, but the volleyball nets we've taken down, because there is a nice day like today. There'll be people still playing some tennis. So the one side of the rec building is going to be shingled. Get that fixed up.
Yeah, because I had emailed Annette and she explained to me as well, because for some reason I thought within the budget, we had quoted for the shingles. That was in the original, and then on top of that, we had provided more of a budget for metal roofing. And obviously, if you look at only 2 sides are in kind of the south side is the worst shape than the other one.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that we're shingling, especially metal roof would be like 16 weeks probably, I would assume, to get.
Yeah.
That's only because I just didn't have time today to actually look at it and see if there was a difference. I know Annette had said there wasn't, but for some reason I thought that we had allocated slightly more than the 5,000 for that.
We allocated, I think, 10,000 in the budget at that given time, and I'd already spent about 5,100 on a bench.
Yep.
And also put a cement pad underneath it. So I have a remaining about $5,000 there left. So it's going to be very close. It's not going to be $5,000 to have that side. Like, it's going to be a lot less than that. But
yeah, and I guess just because we'll be slowly moving into budget over the next while, just something to look into is just if we can have the ball diamonds, the infields, if we can get a price on rototilling them up. Because the one diamond is overgrown a lot. So I kind of looked at, we have a lot of local farmers seeing when they're cultivating their field to see if they're able to run down and just to see what kind of that's gonna look like, just because when you look at them now, like, I don't really want to play, I guess you would say baseball on them, just because the one is severely overgrown. There's not much we can do. We don't have a massive budget for that section and stuff. I guess really the question would be if any local farmers are cultivating to see if they're able to swing by and take off the top. And if we need volunteers to help clean it up, then just put the word out to council so we can ask some of the local, like, that want to use it. Because I know, like, I go up there quite regularly, so it's just kind of something that I've noticed is just kind of overtaken, and unfortunately, you don't have the pesticides that we used to be able to use. That would take it all away. Well, you can, I'm sure it's supposed to, but just something I guess I was looking at when I walked it on Sunday.
Over the previous past years, we have contacted Eddie Shooter, who comes up with this cultivator. And at the start of the season, like that's early May kind of deal when it gets dry enough. And the big thing with that is we do drag it, but if it's not getting used, it starts growing up and it's hard to stay on top of it. And spraying it is ideal, but you gotta be.
So I guess where I'm kind of coming from, if we can look at potentially like how can we get more people outdoors? So the thing is like, okay, what all I'm asking is just what the budget would be. So if we do cultivate, then there's no excuse why people aren't using it, because we're providing them a nice ball diamond to use. Because right now we're trying our best, but it could use a little work. So how much is that going to cost? And I guess the other question would be just to figure out a cost for crack filling and resealing where the old hockey rink used to be.
Oh yeah.
So just seeing what that be, is we have the potential to put an outdoor, like 2 outdoor hockey nets so the kids can play on that, with potentially like 2 little basketball nets for the kids as well, because I know the one at the community center right now, it's where they dug up for the splash pad, so it's a little uneven there where the net is currently. Just those are the only 2 things that a couple people have mentioned and stuff just to look at, and I could provide an email, but I thought especially it's good for us to get a budget for it and just discuss it.
That was actually a skateboard pad and it was used a lot.
Which like where the old hockey rink was?
Yeah.
Well, I know,
Kevin, thank you for the no dogs.
Yeah.
I've had so many complaints about that, like people that have invested in the dog park and they've, they promoted the dog park, they donated to the dog park, and the ball fields are still being used.
Yeah, we haven't got the entrance blocked yet, but it's on the to-do list.
Thank you.
It's being used quite regularly still, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had somebody, I guess, that's new to the area that actually yelled at me that they lived right, bad word there, and didn't want to have to go all the way to the dog park. So,
no, that's appreciated. So keep going there.
I guess, well, on the village, we removed the brackets this morning. It was a nice day, so we went at it. So anyways, that's getting cleaned up. The tree lighting for Christmas, thinking far ahead, but anyways.
On a day like today.
I
know. Do that. Yeah. You know what, though, like, it's only a month away, like, for the, usually, yeah.
Should have snow in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways,
Why not?
It's coming,
It's coming.
yeah, it's coming.
Not cutting
Friday
grass
night.
anymore. These will close.
And that's the first year for wrapping the small tree, eh? Because we have a tree
No,
put
it'll
in.
be the second year,
Yeah.
yeah, second year, yeah. So the Friday night, the 26th November.
If you're signing a Christmas tree, let me know. All you have to do is pick it up. I guess what, 20-25.
Holy jumping.
Maybe you got the 3-4 square feet in the ground.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's there. If you want it, I'll cut it, pick it up at the door.
Thank you very much, Merv. Yeah.
good service.
Yeah,
See, I
excellent.
had a bunch of spruce when I was selling Christmas trees, and some of them didn't sell, so. And they're pretty nicely shaped.
Yeah.
But I want to get another.
Go ahead there, Ken.
Like as you can see in the bottom, the the maintenance of the Opianga Park, it's coming to an end. He's did the cut it, just for Thanksgiving, and that's pretty much the end of that. So now we're just, waiting for Mother Nature to put the white blanket over it.
Because you're depressing me.
Fun.
Yeah.
Good
But you know what's nice though, because I go to Bancroft fairly often and pass the Cormac Park all the time, and you see more people actually eating their meals there, because you have the chip truck down the street.
Yeah.
And it's actually great to see, because every time you drive by, more garbage to maintain, but the thing is, it's nice is that like literally every Saturday or Sunday I drive down, there's always a vehicle or two there, which is actually, it's just nice to see, because prior to that, like chip truck being there, I rarely saw anyone.
Yeah.
And it's just nice,
There
to
was
see.
sort of no
Right.
incentive to stop there, but now there is.
Absolutely, and with the chip truck being in the location it is, in the middle of the field, when it's hot in the summer, that park is beautifully shaded by maple
Yeah, it
trees.
is, yeah.
Isn't
You
it?
know, yeah, I don't know, we can have roughly a tally of how many people are actually using it. We might have to increase maybe another picnic table in there. You know, I know we had the one,
Yeah.
Kevin, but, and how has it gone? Because I know in years gone by, I've talked to some of the neighbors, and they were worried about maybe some damage and stuff, but did everything go okay this fall
Everything
now?
went good, and never had any really complaints about garbage, so.
No,
I think
it looked good going past it all the time.
So,
It looked really good. It was only the one time I seen the washroom door open, so.
Yeah.
Maybe something to look at for next year, maybe to throw another picnic table there if it's gonna be utilized.
Well, because a lot of people drive through area for the leaves, right? So like it's right on that route and stuff. So like it's just it's perfect. My one daughter gets a little car sick on that route right up the hill there where the ears pop, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
always get her once in a blue moon, but it's all right. But no, the park looks great, Kevin. So I just want to tell you that.
thank you.
And now Kevin, since we're talking about the Cormac Park, how far in and around the park do we own? Just within the fence line
Just
there?
pretty much
Just
within the fence line, yeah.
because there's a lot of nice sugar maple there. I was thinking of, maple syrup in the spring, is what I was thinking, it'll be a perfect way to get kids out, go tap some of those maples.
Have our
make some
own little
syrup.
sugar bush.
Yeah, no, it's a perfect little spot for it.
I have to talk to Plymouth Farm.
Plymouth Farms, yeah.
That's it.
That's right.
Is there anything else for us, Kevin?
On the recreation side, I think no, there's one more. This is a last request. Joanne Brooks and she just called me the Women Assault Center. They placed a stone in there 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Anyways, it's the one that's there now is English language. So now they're wanting to put a bilingual stone in there. So anyways, it's getting a little, I'm gonna talk to, it's getting a little late because we poured cement and dropped the stone into cement. So I'm a little concerned if we do it now, that would like it done sooner than later. I'm a little,
Let Joan know that it's not the best time of year.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking towards.
I can reach out to her as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, just bring it to the table next spring.
Yeah, so that's, anyways,
Kevin, I wanted to thank you for your help, and I believe Emma as well, for your help with the Truth and Reconciliation Garden. We had about 20 people. And then once it's permanent, our volunteers are amazing, and they have some great ideas for the garden and then the pollination garden that's next to it.
let's do it, yeah.
So they're gonna put up a sign to explain what each is. But the pollination garden, apparently, people were complaining that it looks terrible, but it's for the bees. And so they're gonna organize that, but I just wanted to thank you for your help.
Thank
It
you.
really was, it's very, even the temporary nature of it, because of the time of year, it was still very pretty.
Thank you.
Go on to the Dana's report now.
Dana's
just
report.
Nice and quick and perfect.
Yeah. Just a couple highlights. The front of the zoning, you're all aware, obviously, what's Dana's getting a newsletter prepared for them and sending out in November.
So just so you guys are aware, the call with EV Direct, that it was a request of the EACDG. So Dana and I did a deep dive on electronic vehicle chargers, and we had a meeting with this guy that gave us some amazing information. So we're gonna bring it back to EACDG, and then we'll bring it back here.
The Rural Recreation Committee, the awards have been handed out for the, or I should say for the local shops. The winner is Brittany Reed for the month of September, shopping local. And in the Sandcastle contest, the winners, I'm not sure if you have all of that. Yes, you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have some local winners from the valley, Moultrie Valley. And the Halloween is the pumpkin carving contest, yard decorating contest, and an adult costume contest, and a kids costume contest. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully Halloween will be a nice evening and be lots of kids out, lots of participants. I think that's pretty much the highlights on Dana's report.
Nope, that's perfect. Any questions from council? Perfect. So that's everything we got for you there, Kevin. We appreciate you staying an extra 30 minutes. That's perfect. I'll take it out of the mayor's report next time, so it's fine. Emma, we want to thank you for coming and stuff. So we've all seen you around the township, so it's just nice to see all the new hires, even though you've been with us for a while. So it's great.
That's been a great addition. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.
Perfect. I see Mark's been on, so I'm guessing he's the Eagle iPhone. So Mark, turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone.
And bylaw doing today.
Same old stuff. Dogs barking and leaves flying. But nothing
Leaves
out of
flying.
the ordinary.
I didn't realize that leaves flying was a bylaw issue.
Well, people putting leaves in certain spots, things like that.
So it sounds like you're keeping busy on the building side, Mark?
Yeah, it's actually very busy. Yeah, and the fall rush is actually just starting to happen now. Because the fall tends to be actually busier than the spring.
Yeah, because everyone's trying to get closed up for the winter time, so.
Yeah, and just new starts, getting concrete work done and that. And so then there's going to be a lot of contractors with very cold hands this winter.
Yeah, no, that's good thing. You see hiring signs everywhere. Okay,
Yeah.
so building's going good. Any questions on building, anyone? No, just nice to see that more people are coming and more people are renovating. So how's bylaw treating you there, Mark?
It has its ups and downs. It's really a job you can't win at type of thing. Some person might be satisfied, but then another one's not.
Welcome to the club, Mark. I had to say it. Everybody was thinking it, but I had to say it.
So then for bylaw, anyone have any questions for Mark? I guess the only thing is just on for the animal services, Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Was just on that North Algona we will be withdrawing from our services.
Yeah.
So we'll be discussing it later. So I guess you'll just be speaking with Annette for how we're going to deal with that going into budget for next year.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go over some numbers. Yeah, with Annette, and just
Okay.
see what
Yeah,
exactly.
sounds good. So we'll wait for that report probably at the next meeting then when you're here, and we'll just kind of go over that, I guess. So Merv, you had a question?
I don't know whether it falls under Mark or who it would fall under, but I was reading in my farm magazine that some parts of Ontario are having trouble with dead stock removal. Have you got any complaints there? Everything seems to be in line around here? Or who?
I-
what?
I haven't heard nothing like about that. No. No.
Generally a private thing.
Yeah, but usually falls
Morley Morley would be involved in that, maybe. If it's
Yeah, maybe.
Nobody's been screaming it out.
No.
All right, well,
As long as everything's quiet.
perfect. Thanks for that, Merv. Any other questions or comments for Mark, anyone? Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mark, for staying on and stuff. We know we're running a little bit behind, but we appreciate it. So have yourself a great day.
You do
See
it.
you later.
Thanks, Mark.
Enjoy the sunshine while it's still here.
Nice.
And moving on, do we have Annette there? Oh, perfect. Annette, thank you for joining us today. So I'll give you the floor.
Okay, thanks, Brent. So I submitted my report there. You can see that the financials are in your packages. So if you have any questions on that, let me know. We did employ a consultant to do a cost reduction overview, and just so you're aware, what they do is they come in and they review all of our invoices and regular things that we do. So, heat, hydro, waste services, cell services, phone services, all of that kind of thing, to see if we can get a better deal. And what they look for is, if they get us a better deal, if they can take 30% of our savings. So it's not a cost up front, but if they get us savings, then they take a percentage of them. So we do have a discussion in closed after today on a couple of the items where they found us some savings. So, but those contracts are still in negotiation, so we can't talk about them openly yet, but looking for some direction from council on whether we want to take advantage of those savings. I think probably yes, but that's a discussion for after the meeting. Aoda Compliance, so that's the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. So we do have to file a compliance report every 2 years. This is one of the jobs that Steve Fegan used to do, so we kind of split it up. So you can see that Mark has taken on the bylaw, Tammy's taken over some animal control, Sandra's taken over health and safety. I'm looking after accessibility. So we've split up a lot of these jobs, and it seems to be working fairly well. Everybody's has got a little bit more to do, but so far I haven't had any major issues where we are looking at somebody else having more time and more hours needing to be dedicated to that. So we do have to fill that out, to discuss it with the senior leadership team. I sent them out the questionnaire and things like that to get back from them before I reported to the ministry, because if there's any concerns, I may not be aware of them at the specific facilities or things like that. So we'll look through that, and we will file that at the end of the year. And if there is something that we're not in compliance for, I know Dana and I worked with Evan earlier this year to get our website compliance. So we'll keep working with that. And if there's more to be done, then we'll have to set up a timetable to be able to do that. Vaccination policy. I know we did discuss this before. I just wanted to bring it back because we did get a letter from Dr. Cushman, and the Renfrew County District Health Unit is definitely making that recommendation. I know the county's moving forward with one that's basically requiring some once a week testing from those that are not vaccinated. I think is what they're looking at, having a draft policy sort of discussed. There's other places that are discussing whether or not you're on unpaid leave if you don't have vaccinations. So, and there's other policies like South Algonquin, who basically said if you're not double vaxxed, you are required to wear a mask on the municipal property at all times, no matter what. So there's a few different ones sort of floating around out there. And just bringing it back to council to discuss one more time, because there is such push and support from the health unit and from Dr. Cushman. If there's one that sort of suits the township needs, that you think we should be putting more on our staff to ask them, if you're not double vaxxed, we're not going to require proof, but we will require you to, wear your mask at all times and take those types of precautions. We are still trying to be cautious. I know sometimes people get a little bit complacent because it's been going on for so long, but I'm here tuning in from home because I was feeling a little bit under the weather yesterday. I pushed myself through, went to the office, didn't start feeling any better, started to continue to feel so, took myself home. Wasn't around anybody, went for a test. I'm waiting for results. And it could just be a change in weather, a little bit of cold, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But definitely, still encouraging people to be super careful, because there's no need to rush and have people exposed to anything. So I think that's still good policy, good procedure. Do you want me to stop here in my report to get any direction, or do you want me to keep going? And then if council has questions at the end?
I know Mayor Murphy had a comment.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Annette. I just want to be clear that the county has not ratified this policy. It's going to county council next Wednesday. So there was a bit of a debate at the September meeting of FNA, Finance and Admin. I was not there. That was the day after my father-in-law passed. It came forward to our Finance and Admin meeting last Thursday and is going back to county council. So it's an interesting policy. It allows for different things, but I just want to be clear that it hasn't been ratified. So I don't know what the conversation will be next Wednesday with all 17 of us. So I think maybe this should be tabled for now.
Yeah, and I agree. We can, I have no problem tabling it. The only thing I would look into is just to treat all employees the same. So for example, maybe something that either the health unit will provide to us, or if they want us to put some form of policy in place, is that if they want to be, we give them the capacity on the rapid testing system that they want and have it on as a daily requirement. But that's something that's an option that we should look at, because I don't think that we should discriminate people based on their status, if they want to disclose it or not. I know people that are double vaxxed that aren't willing to disclose it because it's their private health, and we all understand how private it is. I remember growing up, no one used to talk about what political party they voted for, and now we're asking people to disclose health information that's never really been asked before. But that's only something that I guess a question to look, because we did get a letter from Mr. Cushman in the county. It's just something to look at. I'm not saying that I'm in agreement of any form of policy, but something I think we should look at is that what if people that are vaccinated can still spread this virus, then we should be trying to protect all their employees. And if something like a rapid test is going to treat all employees equally and allows them all to be of equal status, then I think that is something that we should look at. And maybe it's something that the county will provide for us, because we do have free healthcare in Canada. And that's something that I don't know if we can attain as a budget, because it is an expensive item.
So the county's, the policy as it sits right now is once a week. But those tests would be on the backs of the employees. And one of the things that I think about it like this. We have 10 roads employees. 3 of them are brand new, right? So we're going through growing pains. So if we then say, if you're not vaccinated and you're not willing to pay for a rapid test, then you're being laid off. At a time when we have labor shortages and we need these people to come to work. So I don't disagree with you, Brent, but I think once a day that's a bit of overkill, but I think that is there a way to have the province flow the rapid test through to us through the health unit?
Well, sorry, Jack, go ahead and then I'll
Yeah.
go.
I just want to make a point. So the county's recommended somebody that's not double vaxxed to be tested once a week. Is that what they're?
Once a week, yeah.
So what I don't quite understand here is, why is it the person that's double vaxxed tested once a week? They can spread it just the same as anybody else.
That's
This
what Brent just said.
yeah, this to me is crap of whatever the county wants to do. You can't just, because the person's not double vaxxed, they have to get tested, they have to pay the cost. I'm not in agreement with that at all. I don't care what the county says.
But we
Right.
don't have to adopt the
No,
county policy.
but I'm just saying that to me, we shouldn't be talking like that to county, because if you're going to request somebody to get tested once a week, I don't care if he's double vaxxed or not vaxxed, still has the same person.
But Jack, we don't have to adopt the county policy.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Annette just put it in here because we received the letter from Dr. Cushman and it was to be brought back to all the local tiers. The challenge right now is that I don't have anything to provide you from the county.
Tim,
because
I'm gonna
it's-
go and then.
it's not ratified.
And I'll let yourself go. So all I guess I was getting towards was just that if say people that are that are vaccinated and people unvaccinated can spread it, then I think it's something that if we are gonna ever adopt anything, we should treat everyone we should treat everyone equally in the sense that, so if a rapid test, the reason I say a rapid test today is we've already done high volume of a PCR test, which is there's a lot more to a PCR test compared to just a rapid testing system. And the thing is, when you look at it, and I agree with you, Jen, there's a huge work shortage. Look at the amount, like the American government now is saying that some kids might not Christmas because they don't have the truckers, everything's just a mess on the shipping end of it. But the thing is when you have, say, 15% or 10% of the population say that chooses not to get the vaccine, then that's, and how I look at it is like, how can we safely have people around, say, with doing an antigen test, 1-2 tests a day? Because the thing is what we have in our areas is a health shortage. We don't have enough doctors, don't have enough nurses, don't have enough long-term care staff, don't have enough long-term care cooks, don't have enough people to work at Tim Hortons to have two lanes open, or Wendy's or Cane Tire anywhere. So really, when you look at it, it's like, I guess the approach I take is that end of the day, if we're going to put any form of policy in, I think we have to treat everyone equally. And that's how I've always approached it, because it's a preventative response is what we're taking. We're taking the antigen test and we can do 1 day, 2 a day. It doesn't make a difference. We're asking for that recommendation because end of the day, we know we have a shortage of workers. So if I was the county, my recommendation would be like, you know what? I want more nurses. I want more doctors. Our policy is that I'm not recommending to get vaccinated, but what we're going to do is a stringent antigen test. And you know what? You're probably getting other people in parts of Ontario. They're going to come and actually maybe get employment. And that that's my viewpoint. And I think every single person is entitled to their own viewpoint. Hey, probably some people won't agree with it. That's all right. Everyone has a difference in opinion. But like, that's how I look at it is you have an opportunity of a work shortage and people aren't working right now. People are choosing not to work. So the thing is like, what can we do as an employer to make sure that everyone walks through the door safe? Well, people that are double vaccinated or triple vaccinated can still spread it. I don't know the statistics on if it's evenly to someone unvaccinated, but when it comes down to it, I said, that's the approach that I would take if we did put something in, and I'd be happy to wait and see what the county does and then make an appropriate response. But that's all I have to say right now. Tim?
Okay, if I could just maybe throw something else out there. All our employees are pretty darn good. Okay, that's why they work for us. They're vetted, they're screened, we've got a great bunch of people working for the township. Can we not leave it up to them like Annette has done? If you're not feeling good, then you can go get your test or do whatever you may do. And nobody's going to say, why aren't you in today if you're not feeling well? And let it go on to the way that society has operated for the last how many years. If you're not feeling good, don't come in. And if you're feeling good, we expect to see you at work.
Well,
It's a whole lot easier to let the onus be on the individual rather than a big bunch of strong-arming into corporations or government telling you have to do something. I would much rather have a little bit back of freedom of choice with our employees being able to make their own call. If they're not feeling good, I trust them wholeheartedly, every one of our employees, that if they don't feel good, they're going to do the same thing as Annette did today and just stay home until she knows she's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
And to your point, one of the things that I'm sorry that Annette's not feeling well, but even our employees zooming in, this hybrid model that we've got going on means that if one of us has a severe cold, which I know I gave, I believe, to all of you after. Do you remember that? That was terrible.
Yeah.
But so if I feel terrible and I don't want to be a super spreader of even a head cold, then why couldn't I just zoom into these meetings? Like, I think that that we've adapted over the last almost 2 years. We've figured things out. But I couldn't agree more. If you don't feel well, stay home.
And that's all I'm trying to say. It's worked, and it's, the last 2 years, we've been able to get by and we've seen in the area, because we get to see behind the scenes what's going on. We've seen COVID cases come and go, right? And people's natural immune system has fought it off prior to the vaccination ever being out there. We do know of, I know of at least 100 individuals that have had tested positive for COVID and they're alive without a vaccine. So for the few in the less than 10% or 13% that they're trying to shove this into, I don't think that the repercussion so we are at today, what, 87% vaccinated in Renfrew County,
Yeah.
very close to it. I hope I'm within 1% or 2% of the numbers. So let's say we have a road screw and say 3 of them don't want to take a vaccination, right? We can't lose them because, so we're already at almost 90% vaccinated. Why the push now to our employees? And I don't like it, and I don't think that we should be, and I don't want to take any part of it. So if they're comfortable enough by staying home if they're sick, I'm fine with that. Otherwise, nice to see you at work today, because you know what? There's a shortage right across the country, right across North America.
Yeah.
And I've been trucking since this had all started, and I never stopped a day's work. And I put up with the no bathrooms, no showers, no place to eat right across since the dawn of this last winter, trying to get a chainsaw, okay? Because I was sitting on the high side of Highway 11 because of things being closed down. But I didn't go out when I was sick, and I didn't go near anybody if I was sick. And I think a lot of people have that same capability of doing so. And I prefer to have the trust in our employees that we should all be showing.
So that was exactly my point. So if we've got 3 new guys on roads and we've got 3 people laid off or whatever you want to call it, because we're demanding that they be vaccinated, well, then I hope that our general population doesn't expect the roads to all be plowed at the same best practice standards that we have right now. I also believe that there is an enormous misunderstanding out there what a vaccination policy is. I think the debate that's gone on in the media is, I believe these people are thinking that we are demanding that our employees get vaccinated. And if you read the county policy, which Annette will have after it's ratified next week, that's not what the policy at the county is saying. That's not even what the policy at South Algonquin would say. They're giving options so that we don't lose employees. Like teeny tiny municipalities like us, we can't lose workforce. And then what if they leave us and they get a different job and never come back to us when COVID's over? So that's sort of my last, I'll leave this alone. As I said at the beginning of this 20-minute discussion was that I think we should table this until after the county debates it next week.
It's good to have a little conversation though on it. I think it's time. It's time that we've talked about it a little bit here because, I've heard some comments about, what has been said and different areas of media and such. So no, I think we all have to have a good wholesome discussion, and that's the best way to do things, right? We did debate it here at this table. And listen, guys, in no way, shape, or form am I anti anything, any way, shape, or form. You guys know that. I've got all my inoculations up to par, right through and through. But there hasn't been enough straight information, and we've been right at the core of this right from day one. We've seen what has happened, right from March when everything was shut down to what's presently going today. We've been involved in this right over our heads, and we've seen what's happened. And where we are today compared to where we were in March is not even anywhere close to being in the same room, let alone the same building. And I think people are going to have to get used to living with COVID. because I really don't think we're ever gonna see that cap being put back in the bag. It's going to be here. And I think we have to still balance our general freedom and our way of life, and we still have to live. And when people, and I've heard it from some of the people on crew, you know, they're very scared of being demanded to do something. And I don't, guys, let's face it, I don't like, if you're comfortable doing something, you go right ahead. I'm not here to judge people what they put in their bodies or don't put in their bodies. If you want to do that, that's the onus is on you. But I do not believe in an employer or any government forcing people to do something that they're very uncomfortable with. Because let's face it, we are at almost 90% now. So those who were comfortable taking it have already took it.
Mhm.
So
Agreed.
from here on in, it's a forced deal. And you know what? If the people are getting vaccinated because they're forced into it and not because they're afraid of the virus, it's for the very wrong reasons. And God forbid, one should have a bad ill effect to a side effect of the vaccination. I don't want that being on me because I have seen it. I have seen people have adverse reactions or get desperately sick for weeks on end. And I'm not going to go too much further into what I've witnessed, but I will not force people into that, and especially our employees, and I will always have our employees' side.
Well, and then I was gonna say, Ned, so if you could, can you just, we'll bring it up at our next meeting again, we can discuss it further, and at that point, we'll have some more information, we can talk about it again. I think it's fruitful. Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I want to comment, I want to agree with Tim that there's no way I'm going to be in favor of ever forcing somebody that they have to take a vaccination. Because I've known people that have lost their jobs because they didn't vaccinate. And I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. This vaccine is, like we said earlier, it's a vaccine. You can still get sick, you can still spread it. So why are you forcing people to take the vaccine? And there's no way that me sitting here and I'm going to force anybody to do it.
Well,
And that's.
it's egregious that people are losing their jobs.
Well, I
That's,
know lots of
yeah.
people have lost their jobs because of it, because they didn't. take
So,
the vaccine.
so then Net, can you, we can move on to the next part of the report then?
Will do. Yep, I'll bring that back next meeting. We can talk about it again, some options. The next part has to do with the 2022 election. So there's a couple of different bylaws that we could pass that have to come through council if that's something that council wants to do. So the first thing is if we want to put together a contribution rebate program. A lot of, I don't think very many smaller municipalities do this, but some of the larger ones do. For people contributing to the campaign. So what happens is we have to establish, what amounts would be paid back and that kind of thing. So it's really meant to encourage people getting involved and people being able to run their campaign and people being able to raise funds to be able to do that who don't have funds of their own. And that, of course, comes from the township's support by giving rebates to people who do that. So it's not something that I can see that the Township of Bonnechere Valley has ever done in the past, but just wanted to at least bring it to council's attention. And if that's something that you'd like to do, there's lots of time to be able to put together a policy and a program and pass it by bylaw. But if you're not interested, then that's fine too.
Net, send you after there, Tim, but I was gonna say my recommendation is just to keep it as simple as possible. And just not to do it, I guess, is the best way to say it. Just because, just because like, honestly, I think what most people know, especially at the table, is that it doesn't really matter how many signs your contributions. If you just knock on people's doors and get people out, that does more than having 500 signs out there and all this money and contributions. At the end of the day, if it's knocking on doors, it makes a difference. And honestly, I'd rather people contribute their money to the food bank, library, the senior center, or anything, Echo Center, or anything at the end of the year, rather than give it to a candidate and hopes and dreams of being a council member, MP, or anything. So that's just my recommendation. I'm just one member here. Tim, go ahead.
I'm on the same channel as you, Brent. I was gonna go down a little bit different road. I think if people invest their own time or own money, they're more apt to be a little bit more involved in their own election rather than depend on someone else. And I think if you really want to do this job, you will commit to your election and your campaign. And it's going to keep the people that I really don't endorse it, because I don't want somebody that just wants to, oh, I'm going to dabble my toes in it, or, you know, it keeps the serious people up front. And money is not, as far as I'm concerned, especially in our area, a thing that dictates whether you win a campaign around here. It's what kind of person you are within your community. So if the people are willing to walk around, like Brent said, and go door to door, you don't have to spend a pile of money on a campaign, and I don't think we should be giving any rebates. to
Just a
anybody.
pair of sneakers, eh,
A
Tim?
pair of
That's
sneakers,
right.
and you know, no, and I think, and that's, I'm not gonna give away any of my secrets, but all of us sitting at the table know that's how you do things.
Yeah,
You know,
Triple tanks of gas.
Yeah.
that's right. Well, pretty soon we'll have to mortgage your gas on our own accord too, because
No
the last I
kidding.
looked at the price of the, hey, she's coming to a theater near you. Yeah.
Jen, go ahead.
No, we don't
Okay.
need this.
No.
So it sounds like you got your response there, Annette.
Yeah.
So the next one is your
I was
election
just gonna say
signs.
ditto.
No,
Yes, the next one, the next policy that can be established. So I have to establish my policies before June, but there are certain things that can be done by council, not by the clerk. So that's why I'm just bringing these forward. The sign bylaw is another one that can be passed at council, basically saying, you know, here's where they have to be. They have to, you know, it takes measurements and it tells you, you know, how far you can place your signs and where you can put them and things like that. Again, I don't think this is something Bonnecher Valley has done in the past, but it is something we could put in place if we wanted to. And if not, then it basically falls back on the rules in the Municipal Election Act, where, you know, you can't have signage at the voting place, you can't, things like that. So any comment on that? Do you want me to look into a sign bylaw, or are you feeling, and also we can put in fees and fines and stuff. If you put it where you're not supposed to put it, then I can remove it, but I'm going to charge you for removing it. Or are we just going to fall back on the Municipal Election Act, excuse me, and enforce no signs, obviously, at the voting polls. But other than that, it's
And that the only, I remember when we first got actually elected and moved in, I remember the one comment that we had talked, Brian Martin was here at the time, was that we bring back to discussion on if we would allow municipal election signs on public property. Because at the time we had a discussion pertaining to only allowing it on private property, so privately owned, versus just because the amount of, you see it at every election time. Downtown Eganville gets full of signs. All our parks or recreation on all our properties, except for the voting areas, always gets loaded, I guess. So I guess that's just kind of the only question I had to council, was that if we even wanted to allow it on our public, because we have to stay impartial no matter what anyways. So I guess really when it comes down to it, is that something that we want to look into or bring to discussion on a later date, specifically as a new unfinished business, or we just keep it status quo and keep it as a municipal act and try to do less paperwork for the office?
I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel that election signs are just visual clutter. I couldn't agree more this last election. I mean, do you really need 5 of your signs on a corner outside of a school? You know, I think that there's some overkill that goes on. If I had my druthers, I would say no signs whatsoever. But Brent, you and I did talk about this at the very beginning of this term. I couldn't agree more, private property only.
It's going to be hard to regulate that. I guess it's okay for municipal, but when it comes to other, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, like really all I
Municipal.
looked at it, Jack, when we go to cut the grass, if the sign's in our way, we'll put it in our office. We call the candidate and say, hey, your sign's in our office. And that's about it, because any of our public properties, I'm guessing we keep to our property standards. So it actually gets regularly cut, and someone puts a sign there, we go to whipper snip it, then we go and cut. I'm not saying go our way to remove it. I'm just saying when it's during the cutting season, so whenever a sign's away, we just throw it in our recreation truck or whatever, bring it to the office, and there we go. But that's, or we just keep cutting around it, and then we have to get employees to pick up the sign and move it, and that's what it.
I think at the time of year though, we have and to me, it really makes no difference either way. Because the signs are expensive and any new candidate's gonna know the sign isn't cheap. And I had my eyes opened up when I bought my own signs. So I don't know, especially with the open voting system coming this year. One of the big things that was asked of me, because I was gonna go signless when I ran. And people asked me, well, are you running? And I said, yeah. Well, I don't see any of your signs. So there are those that are out there that, and I chose to put everything except for one on private property. And I was fine with that. The thing is, I know we're going to have new candidates probably from throughout all of Bonnechere Valley. And there's going to be that they're not going to be known, say, from South Laguna to Grattan to, you know, so it's a bigger area for you to know people, you know, and that, you know, if there's one on the corner of whatever, because don't forget, grass cutting at our election, I'm sure is going to be in October. So it's almost gone, non-existent. Usually it doesn't start ramping up till September, right? So for a little bit of trimming around, I think if we just follow the municipal act, they keep them out of the voting station, leave it as easy as possible for our roads crews or our rec crews. If they got to trim around the sign for a couple of weeks, it's not a big deal. I just don't want to, I don't want to have someone not have the opportunity if they want to blow whatever their allotted amount is and put them all up at the corner of one spot on the township. You know, I'm not saying downtown in a park, but like, let's not forget municipal property goes 33 feet from the center line of all our roads, right? So where do we differentiate? Where do we say yes and no to then? And then we have to get a little bit more messy, dirty into where it's really legal, because I don't want somebody saying, well, they're within 33 feet of the road allowance, technically they're on
measuring
public property. And no, but so people are claiming, you've seen people come up with things.
Well,
right?
and that's the point of the discussion is that,
Yeah.
so end of the day, what's simplest is it simplest just to leave it as is? And then if someone doesn't want the property, they can move it to public and then that's how it goes.
And yes, you can't put your sign on private property unless it's approved by the person regardless, so.
The new candidates will figure out very quickly what you put out, you have to pick up.
That's right, that's right. So just to kind of keep it as an even keel, and I just don't want it to be too messy for a new person coming in.
Because like you said, new persons aren't gonna be recognized.
No.
Up in South Laguna or Sebastopol or who else, right? If
That's
you're
right.
going into Foyman, all you really have is that little area coming in, you want to put a sign or something there.
Yeah,
Because they won't even know anybody in Foyman, right? So I don't have a problem with them.
Yeah, so then just keep it status quo and then.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
just-
have a problem.
It's
Lisa,
only for a
Jack,
month.
Lisa, remember we talked about at the
Yeah.
beginning in the conversation was if we wanted to talk about if we're gonna allow it on public property, because we were talking about the
Yeah.
importance of private property at that time.
Yeah.
So no, I agree. And that, it sounds like it's your golden day. You have less paperwork from the council.
if I could ship you over some chicken noodle soup there, I would.
What?
I'd make it homemade too. I'll go get a chicken.
And then Jen, you had a comment?
No, I'm just thinking,
So now you
we
should
don't
have-
really need a net, oh yeah, I guess for the animal services and the audit scope letter.
Yeah.
And then we should let her go.
Yeah.
You look like you're fading fast.
Annette, do you have anything else for us? That should be it, I assume.
That's everything I had on my report. Yep. So I'll just, I'll turn my video off and I'll come back after for the first section of the closed in case you have questions for me there. But I'm still here. I'll just shut my video off. So as you guys go through the rest.
Perfect, thank you very much. Does anyone need a break or?
I
Okay.
could use it.
Yeah.
I drank almost a gallon of water here.
And put a sign up that says on break for,
No, I can't do the sign.
okay, can you just at least mute us? And we will be taking a 5-minute please.
you go.
Okay, thank you very much, Sandra. Thanks for that break, everyone. So we're all done with our reports. So we'll move on to correspondence A. So we already discussed item number 2 already. And then number 3, I was just going to comment and just say that the Cunningham Swan, the municipal law seminar is available to us, just as it has been since we've been on council. So free legal advice and everything like that. Anyone else have anything else from correspondence A you'd like to discuss? No? Okay, perfect. So we'll move on to correspondence B. I'd like to highlight the first one, which is the Golden Lake Properties Association sponsorship. My recommendation to council is just to continue what we've done since we've all been in existence on the table. So
We do it every year.
Every year.
It's just a pro forma thing.
yep. So everyone's in agreement. Thumbs up if everyone's good with it. The
Oh,
Golden Lake.
even off Zoom, we're doing the thumbs up.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then, anyone else have anything more to move on to? The only thing I was gonna comment on was the North Laguna Wilberforce Township BB Animal Services, just on, they sent us a letter just saying that they're gonna withdraw from our services.
And you were right earlier in saying this will be a budget item for next year.
Yeah, and Annette, Annette and Mark will work on it. So Annette, you'll be providing, I guess, a recommendation or report for next meeting? Or you have that?
Well, I was gonna bring it to budget when we discuss it, but yes, I did make a note when you were discussing it with Mark to bring something forward to the next meeting. So yep, that's fine. I do need to know,
Yeah.
sorry, I do need to know from council whether we are still going to, because they had to give us 90 days notice and they haven't. So we could, I guess the date that they're looking for is for us to charge them for October, November, December, but not for January. So I do need council's direction there. Are we going to just charge them to the end of the year? Or are we going to charge them for the month of January because they didn't give notice at the time?
Well, in my opinion, and just say that everyone knows the terms of the contract, so just keep it towards the contract is my recommendation. It's kind of straightforward, unless, I guess my only condition on if we're able to recruit another municipality that's gonna pay for the services the exact same amount as them, then I would say, yes, we can refund the 1 month of the contract, no difference than a landlord-tenant agreement. But no, I just stick to the confines of the arrangement is my recommendation.
Agreed.
And actually, Annette and I spoke about this the other day, and that is the contract. They entered the contract.
Yep.
And what if this was, 2 or 3 municipalities that wanted,
If it was the other way around, it would be.
there you go.
Well, we already have a shortage of funds for maintaining the building, so.
Exactly.
Okay, so,
And everyone read the Macmillan audit scope letter, so we all have to sign that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
McKellar.
Yeah,
then
McKilligan, sorry.
was there anything else in correspondence B that we wanted to discuss? Perfect, okay. Correspondence C, we do not have any. So move on to the new unfinished business, which is, so library board update, pretty much on the 30th of this month. We have a live history walk. So it's a performance group that's coming, and it's kind of the best way to explain it. It's a kind of like a murder mystery involved. So it's you walk around with the group and the performers, and you kind of live through and try to identify like the live history concept towards it. So there's 15 tickets available on the one day or at the one time, and 3 tickets available at the other time. So if anyone wants to go, just get in touch with B at the library, Susan, or any of the staff, or even myself. And then we are taking items for the live auction. They'll be taking place, I believe it's November 17th to the 27th off the top of my head. So we have everything from, I know there's gonna be some toboggans getting donated. We're trying to do it for Christmas time because it's a great time to get good gifts. A couple cheese boxes donated, a couple heritage items and stuff like that.
He's
So,
really pushing the cheese boxes.
well, actually, my recommendation.
Because you guys started smiling when he started.
Yeah, I know, right?
Great. Well, you know what? It's my
Out is
my exact response to some board groups I sit on is that there's a large amount of cheese boxes, so if you guys figure out a way to utilize them, then I said, my kids have great smiles and can sell them on the corner or wherever, and then they'll just
I can't-
sell the cheese
I
boxes.
can't believe your kids aren't making cheese box forts.
No, so actually, so in our household, we use the cheese boxes for drums and stuff like that. Our kids will paint them and
You should.
have fun. So I gave one to the library. I spoke to Lays and like, hey, you know what? It'd be pretty fun to do a little drum, paint and drum on the old cheese box. Hey, they're great.
Maybe you could make some cheese to put in.
In the cheese box.
You know what? Every 1,000th cheese box, Tim, comes with a cheese wheel in it. You just have to take them all and figure out which one.
I'm sure. I would be able-
Yeah, and if you don't find it, you don't have to return them.
So that's all I have for the library update. So if you do have any library, I know Mayor Murphy's donating $100 from Murphy's Auto and stuff like
Yep.
that. So it's no, we appreciate it. We appreciate everything.
Well, and you know what, Brent, you said something earlier that really struck a chord with me. I was watching the news last night and seeing the supply issues and talking about people shopping online and Christmas shopping and all the rest of it. So I'm happy to hear that the library is sort of angling it towards the Christmas and Hanukkah holiday. And you know, a gift certificate at Murphy's Autos, that's a nice stocking stuffer. I'm just saying.
So it's like I know like a friend of
It's almost like we've got ads
I
from
know.
YouTube in
Okay,
it.
so
here.
Brent can do it, I
the
can do it.
the next item.
You're
Tim?
selling trees,
It'll
right?
be- No.
There's a plug for trees.
Jack, it'll be Tim Sisson, deck builder extraordinaire. That's what
right.
it'll be.
Yeah.
The deck supports your house. It's so strong. Okay, well, we'll get
Jack's
back.
just jealous.
So,
Actually, Jack, I had something in mind, but time has run out on me. I make these wooden rocking chairs for little kids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
I just,
Got busy hunt seasons around.
yes, I know.
Our
Okay,
girls
so
have-
Jack-
Hopefully I'll have one made, there'll be another.
perfect. So I'll
next year.
put Jack down for donation of pepperettes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to item number 2. So review the fishing dock scope report. So we've all read and had everyone's received it and stuff like that. So is there any questions, comments, and then direction to the ACDG or?
Just a comment that they presented it at our EACDG meeting. They feel that everything in the report is doable and they'd like to move forward. So,
Sounds good. Perfect.
yeah.
Thumbs
So I will bring that back to the ACDG.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And then 3, 4th Street Bridge, Jack, you want to comment? And then Jen had a comment after that as well.
Yeah, it's just, the Fort Chute Bridge, I've been working on for quite some time, as we know, and I'm down there quite often, and I noticed that over the last little while, the locals have been using it. It's much the same as the bridge that was located on Silver Lake Road. The bridge is pretty well complete, but it's still closed and locals are traveling it, so I just don't quite understand why when something's been closed for months, we keep it closed for an extra couple of weeks for really no reason.
Okay, so I was not aware that it was still closed because I haven't been down 4th Street lately. However, over the last, the weekend and then yesterday, I've had 8 complaints, 2 from Canada Post and bus drivers and obviously parents of school children who are on the bus longer because of the closure. So I reached out to the county. Apparently it is supposed to be actually opened on Friday.
Mhm.
Why it was kind of opened, I have no idea. I don't know what
Well,
the,
what do you mean? It's
what the
not-
logistics were of that.
It's not kind of open, it's just the pylons are there. But local people have to drive in from this end to get into their houses, right? And when you go through the pylons, if they can continue through and from the other side of the bridge, from the caves and that, if you move the pylons, you can see that the bridge is complete.
Okay,
The only thing that's left,
on pylons.
the pylons, there's the construction trailer,
Okay,
there's a pile of guardrails on one side. And from my understanding is there's some landscaping that has to be completed on the edge.
Okay.
So that, to me, I think that could be done with flagman. If it's landscaping. If you have to, you wouldn't need, but anyway.
Tim.
And then the other thing, I know, I would recommend council to go down and take a look. Because where the new guardrails have been situated, there's no access to your park anymore. The guardrails have run right to the road.
Okay, I'll go down tomorrow.
And I inquired about it and I was informed by the contractor that that's the drawings that the county gave me.
I will take a drive
So
down.
I would recommend, because that's the next pushback we're gonna get.
So Tim,
So I don't want to be putting words in anybody's mouth or anything at all, but back in the day, I was using the 417 quite frequently and I couldn't figure out why all the pylons and stuff were on and the lane that painted. And Lowell Green at the time was frustrated too. And they actually got an answer, and I don't know if it's going to be the same one the county is going to give us, but until the engineers actually sign off on the completed project, they can't technically reopen it. That was what had happened there. I don't know if we're in the same
Yeah,
boat
could
here,
be.
but that does make sense.
Oh, yeah.
That could be, you know what I mean? So until they have the engineer stamp, you know, what we know
Oh, I know.
sometimes can take a while, they might not technically be able to lift that under construction.
But I do find it odd. that they
Especially with
would
the
just-
structure of the bridge.
But I still find it odd that they would just leave pylons out there that can easily be moved or driven around.
Well,
Well,
they are supposed to be a barricade.
Well,
It is a physical barricade and it's a legal barricade. So
Yeah,
the same
that's
thing is on the
fine.
highway, right? So if the people are driving around them, they probably shouldn't be
Yeah.
until it's inspected and signed off on. And that could be possibly the only reason why. Just my 2 cents, not that it's accurate or not, but I have seen it happen in the past. And it has taken engineers a long time to come out and inspect.
told to be open this road.
Okay, and that could be very well what's going on,
And
right?
I've got Taylor Hanrath's email right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to
Request a
send him
copy
an email
of the
and
drawing.
let him know that I am going to take a trip down 4th Street Road tomorrow morning. And if those guardrails are blocking the entrance to our park, they're going to have to be removed.
Take your cutting torch.
I was gonna say that torches.
Well, the thing is, you don't want
I know how to
people
use it.
climbing over top of it.
No,
perfect. And then Mayor Murphy, you had Queen of Halloween.
yes, since we have a whole bunch of people in this, especially in the village, that are doing such an amazing job of Halloween. At our next council meeting, I would like to present Shannon Kelly with the Queen of Halloween certificate, because their yard is incredible, and I think that this is something that we should do every year, just like all these contests that we have going on, the sand castles and all of that. I think that that would be very nice, because she has gone above and beyond and actually had protocols in place even last year that meant that Halloween could go on and that it was safe for the kids.
There you go.
I really like her yard, and she keeps posting these amazing photos on Facebook. Everybody's good with that?
Should be.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. I would recommend it to. Yeah, no, like that's good. Like Ben and Shannon both do, and Ben takes the last week off of October to set up everything. So like when it comes to like, I know their house, it's a family engagement.
Yep.
That all do it. So no, I have no problem with having some form. I don't know if like Queen of Halloween is, I guess, good for this year if we designate their house, which makes sense. They've always done so. But I'd probably say like we can do a Halloween contest for a best decorated house or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Just because I know, yeah, so.
I just think that she, and I say Shannon because Shannon is my friend on Facebook, but I do recognize it's a family affair. I just feel that she, even though we have these contests going on, I really feel that she deserves some recognition for keeping Halloween going even through COVID.
I'm not trying to, you know, do any kind of downer on your parade, and just be careful with, as I've been brought to my attention with, the way you word things, Jen. Just the Queen, I remember Toys for Boys on Shea 106 was canceled because it said
Oh.
Toys for Boys. You know, because you're not including
I got
all the people.
all the people.
Well, you know,
I just liked it because it rhymed.
It
but
did, it was a good,
Yeah,
hey, and just as a word of caution,
you're right.
not to be the downer in the room, but and I don't, believe me, I'm old school. I do like your rhyme, but some people might not.
Find it a
It's
little.
not gender neutral.
That's what I was going for. I
There
didn't want to
you
be
go.
politically incorrect.
But Merv has
I'm not the
Merv has
hipster.
terms down.
I'm not the hipster that I, thought it would be,
There you go.
yeah,
All right.
just to be inclusive,
I'll come up with another word.
just to be inclusive in
Yeah.
all, that's all.
Because
I've learned a lot in the
I'm showing
last
my age.
4
Nice
years
to see or
of
something.
inclusiveness, right? So,
I'm
yeah.
showing my age. Okay, I will come up with another name, but thank you for that.
Sorry, about that. Like I said, I
It's
didn't
all
want,
right.
I didn't want to be
It's the
downer on
thought.
this like
It's
that.
I
It's-
just want to acknowledge this family because they really did set the standard.
Yeah, yeah. No, I drive by it every day and it looks fantastic.
It really does.
Yes.
Yeah, they set up the actual walk, next week is when they set it up.
Yeah,
So, perfect,
you've got a big hearse.
and then establish the next meeting, so that is during the hunt.
I could have to take the afternoon. I should my deer in the morning.
So that is,
that's your choice.
next one would be, is it November, it'd be November 2nd then,
Yeah, it's the first
Okay.
Tuesday in November. That's, oh.
perfect, so then we'll make
Journey.
sure we see everyone then.
Tremendous blood on your hands.
Media session, I'm sure they'll just watch online. And then closed session, we do have two, so that committee proceed in closed session in accordance with municipal act, 2001, section 239.2, deal with the matters as indicated below. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. K, position, plan, procedure, criteria, instructions to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. Could I please have a mover, please? Tim, and all those in favor? Perfect, thank you very much, and we are now in close, and Sandra, can you please take us offline, please?
Well, maybe.
That's not promising. Crack the door.
I was going to ask him, that guy that's selling cider